I'm Susan Reed, 27 years old, a biotech developer from San Diego who once believed family meant standing by each other no matter what. But that belief shattered at a family dinner when my parents demanded I pay my sister's $100,000 debt. When I refused, they exploded, yelling, "Either cover her debt or get out. We won't tolerate this selfishness in our home." My sister smirked. "You're always the one with the deep pockets, aren't you?" I didn't argue. I stood, grabbed my keys, and walked out in silence, leaving the home I'd helped hold together. 1 month later, when my fortune was revealed, they wished they'd never forced me out. What happened next turned everything upside down, and you won't believe the fallout. Drop a comment below. Have you ever been treated like the family ATM? Where are you watching from? Smash that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell for more stories where standing your ground leads to unexpected triumphs. Trust me, you'll want to see how this unfolds. As I drove away that night, memories of our uneven family dynamic flooded back. Growing up in our modest home in La Jolla, money was always tight despite my parents' hard work. My father pushed through grueling shifts as a construction foreman in the blazing San Diego heat. My mother balanced part-time receptionist duties with keeping the household running. We had basics, but little extra, especially when favoritism skewed everything toward my sister. From early on, the imbalance stood out. When she shattered a window playing roughly indoors, it got brushed off as youthful energy. A few days later, when I knocked over a glass by accident, I faced a week of chores as punishment. These patterns established a clear pecking order in our home, where her mistakes vanished while mine lingered. She possessed natural charisma that won over everyone with her lively laugh and bold stories. Neighbors and teachers praised her vibrant personality while labeling me the introverted sibling. Behind that appeal lay inconsistency. She'd dive into trends with excitement but drop them when commitment kicked in. Her space overflowed with unfinished crafts, forgotten gadgets, and gear from hobbies she quit midway. Like the surfboard gathering dust after one lesson, I carved my identity through dependability and focus. School came naturally, and I relished the reward of persistence. It wasn't competition. I simply valued structure. By high school, our paths diverged sharply. I held steady on the honor roll, contributed to the science club, and stashed away cash from shifts at a local smoothie shop near the beach, blending drinks for tourists under the sun. She shifted social circles frequently, racked up tabs at cafes she promised to settle later, and earned a name for flakiness among peers who grew tired of her unrepaid favors. College amplified the contrast. I clinched a scholarship for biotech studies at a nearby university, pulling lab assistant hours to bridge the gap. I tracked every expense, hunted grants, and emerged with low debt, ready for the competitive San Diego job market. She signed up for a community college fashion program dreaming of design stardom, but bailed after a semester, claiming it stifled her creativity. Next came a brief try at hospitality management that fizzled fast due to inconsistent attendance. Then, an online course in social media influencer strategies she never completed despite the hype. My parents always backed her choices, insisting she needed time to discover her niche. "Not everyone's wired for books," my father would say wearily during family gatherings, his voice carrying the strain of long days on site. Post-graduation, I scored an entry-level spot at a thriving biotech company in San Diego. The paycheck provided security in a market where rents soared, rather than leap into independent living amid high costs. I remained at home, chipping in $600 monthly for bills while building my nest egg for a condo, calculating every step to avoid the financial pitfalls I'd seen. At 30, she hopped between commission-based gigs that sparked initial hype but demanded steady hustle she avoided. She'd tout each role as her breakthrough, only to exit when targets loomed. Blaming bad luck or poor management, in downtime, She'd return home without contributing, relying on our parents for essentials like her cell plan and auto coverage, treating the arrangement as temporary despite its permanence. The debts mounted quietly at first. She amassed multiple cards loaded with impulse purchases, designer bags from upscale malls, spa weekends in Palm Springs, tech upgrades like latest phones and tablets beyond her means. Bills arrived with vows of reform, sometimes met with bare minimum payments from fleeting paychecks before the loop restarted. Each cycle digging deeper. My parents fueled this by stepping in repeatedly. They endorsed her loans when credit scores tanked, covered deposits for apartments she abandoned after disputes with roommates, and even handled a $1,500 vet bill for a pet she adopted on whim, only to rehome later. They framed it as bridging rough spots, but those spots defined her routine, creating a safety net that encouraged more risk. This enabling set up the crisis. By shielding her from repercussions, they'd fostered reliance on rescues for her choices. I never foresaw becoming the rescuer or that declining would unravel our ties. The evening's tension had roots in years of overlooked inequities, from childhood slights to adult indulgences. As I navigated the dark roads, that history replayed vividly. The biotech lab where I worked loomed ahead, a reminder of my own path forward, parking in a quiet spot. I dialed my coworker for a place to crash, stepping into uncertainty but away from the cycle. A few days before that fateful dinner, the tensions had been building through smaller demands. My parents had started with subtle hints about chipping in for Mary's phone upgrade, then escalated to covering her latest parking ticket. I deflected, reminding them of past loans she'd never repaid, but they waved it off as family duty. These incidents piled up, setting the stage for the blow-up. The dinner unfolded with my mother's pasta dish steaming on the table, a staple that often preceded serious talks. I'd sensed the shift from their exchanged looks and Mary's fidgeting as my father dished out portions. He cleared his throat sharply. "Susan, job going strong. That bonus coming through?" I nodded cautiously. "Team's hitting milestones. Looks promising." "Good," my mother replied with forced cheer. "You've managed finances so smartly." She shot a glance at Mary, who picked at her food. My father pressed on. "Speaking of money, we need to address something as a family." He turned to Mary. "Want to start?" She shrugged without eye contact. "It's a rough patch. My cards hit $100,000. Collectors are hounding me." The figure stunned me. My gut twisted as the implication dawned. My mother reached for my arm. "We know you're building your savings, but options are slim." I placed my utensil down. "You're expecting me to clear her debt temporarily," my father said. "She's lining up a commission gig with potential high earners break six figures." Mary lifted her gaze, blending plea and assurance. "I'd square it soon." "This could turn things around," my mother added hastily. "We've spotted her smaller sums before, but with roof repairs and your father's meds not fully covered, we're stretched." Family steps up. Susan. The weight of their words pressed in. Help had consistently favored Mary. My efforts treated as a pool to draw from. Disbelief surged alongside frustration at the injustice, and pain that my caution became her safety net. "How did the debt climb so high?" I asked levelly. Mary dismissed it. Everyday expenses, vehicle maintenance, replacement gadget after a mishap, wardrobe for opportunities. It accumulated. "The wardrobe boosts her professional image," my mother interjected. I steadied my breath. "You're 30. These aren't isolated incidents. What's the strategy to shift course?" Her expression tightened. "Spare the sermon from my kid sister." I sought assistance, not guidance. "You didn't seek it," I corrected. "Mom and Dad did. And it's my hard-earned funds. I merit details on the build-up." My father's face reddened. "Watch it. Hardships strike all. She'd aid you if tables turned." Would she? I questioned Mary directly. Have you backed me financially since adulthood? She shoved her chair back. This is absurd. I warned them you'd complicate it. My father thundered, deeply disappointed. Susan. We instilled family above possessions. This concerns habits and fallout. I countered. Rescuing her perpetuates the loop. My mother teared up. How heartless? She's kin. The debate circled for half an hour. My parents alternating pleas for loyalty with fragile promises. This marked the final ask. Flashback to prior pressures clarified the escalation. Weeks earlier, they'd nudged me to loan Mary cash for a quick flip scheme that flopped. Before that, they insisted I spot her rent when she skipped payments. Each time. I resisted, citing her track record, but they guilted me with family bonds. These episodes built resentment, making the dinner demand inevitable. As arguments exhausted, no ground given. I stood, voice firm. If that's your stance, I'll go. Joseph Reed, my father, slammed his fist. Then pack. Out by morning. The command landed heavy. You're evicting me for not funding her mistakes, Linda Reed. My mother wept, but stood firm. We're upholding principles. You don't grasp unity. This is controlling, I replied. Your fix ignores her role, punishing me instead. Mary muttered snidely. Always superior. In that instant, clarity hit. I'd played the reliable fixer, my success a resource for her failures. No more. I'm not covering the debt, I stated calmly, and the distortion here ends now. My father rose flushed. You've chosen. Gone tomorrow. Despite the blow. Resolve steadied me. Fine, I'll arrange my things. Upstairs, I gathered essentials clothes, laptop, docs while they conversed below, voices low but laced with relief, as if my exit solved their immediate bind. The normalcy in their tone stung deeply amid my upheaval. By nightfall, boxes ready. I handed my key in the kitchen. I'll retrieve the rest once settled. My mother hesitated, but my father nodded curtly. Notify us. We'll be here. His detached words sealed no reversal. I nodded wordless, heading to my car, the symbol of this rift. Engine started. Emotions crashed, betrayal sharpest from those meant to protect. Fear of unknown mixed with anger at unfairness. Sadness for lost bonds. Savings of $5,000, meant for condo. Now lifeline. Stable job but housing hunt in pricey San Diego loomed. Colleagues friendly, but no close confidants for major aid. As La Jolla lights faded in the mirror, I faced forward, whatever followed. Change was permanent. That first evening proved toughest. After circling streets, practicality hit. Hotels drained funds fast. I texted Travis Doyle, a lab mate I'd lunched with occasionally, outlining the clash vaguely. Family fallout. Need a spot briefly till sorted. His reply surprised. Harsh deal. Couch open as needed. Texting address and code. Feel free. His straightforward kindness nearly broke me. Family should have offered that. Yet a near stranger did without pause. His compact apartment in a La Jolla complex held a snug living room. The sofa, cramped, beat alternatives, staring at strange shadows from window lights. Reality sank. Lost home, ties, foundation, all for refusing to enable. Next morning, I brewed coffee early to minimize burden. Travis emerged, waving off apologies. No hurry. Had similar with my folks over career picks. Sometimes blood complicates. Monday demanded work focus amid chaos. During break, I scanned listings for studios. Disheartened by rents. Affordable spots meant long commutes or sketchy areas. Decent ones required roommates I couldn't secure fast. By midweek, Travis linked me to his circle. Welcoming without prying. Deborah Foster, a designer friend, offered empathy at a casual meetup. Sibling kicked out over choices years back. Rejection hurts uniquely. Here if needed. A week in. No word from home. Silence underscored their conditional care. Emotions swung from wound to drive for better. Apartment search tough, but after persistent calls, I found a tiny unit in La Jolla, 400 square feet. Basic kitchen, bath, rent ate half my pay. But independence called. Deborah noted bare space. Furniture hunt tomorrow. My gas. Your lunch. We hit thrift spots and curbsides, snagging a futon, desk, chairs, kitchen basics under $300. Her bargaining stretched my budget. Moving crew of Travis, Deborah, and pals turned drudgery fun, ending with pizza. Welcome to freedom. Deborah toasted. Small. Yours. Initially shelter. The studio grew into sanctuary. No eviction threats for boundaries. Travis. Deborah wove in as support unconditional. Unlike blood, weeks built routines. Longer commute. Simple meals. Tight entertainment. But benefits emerged. Free from tension. Sleep improved. Energy surged for lab work. Boosting output, catching leads' eyes. 3 months out. Review brought surprise promotion. Raise. Changes working. Supervisor noted. Irony. Toxic exit fueled career lift. The bump eased rebuilding, allowing small outings without penny pinching. Deborah's bond deepened, her circle expanding mind gallery visits, hikes under San Diego sun. When overwhelm hit from family processing, she suggested her therapist on sliding scale. Dr. Lori Bennett became key, unpacking dynamics I'd normalized, family systems powerful. She explained, trained for role. Stepping out disrupts, they pull back. Not you. The shift. Insights framed pain without self-blame. Not failed daughter. Refused unhealthy loop. 6 months in. Chosen family formed. Travis. Deborah. Others marked birthdays, navigated crises, created traditions like beach bonfires, game nights, biological kin silent. No birthday reach, holiday note. Absence grieved the real and ideal lost. Hardest releasing deserved fantasy. Grieving both. Through sessions and friends. Views shifted. Boundaries necessary for connection. Respect over sacrifice foundation. Worth not utility defined. As 1 month mark neared, life held authenticity. Joy. Studio personalized. Friends valued mutual. Career advanced to lead roles. Growth valued. Though unplanned. Resilience found. Relationships genuine. Life honoring needs. While rejection lingered. No longer controlled. Author now. Not character. That first evening proved toughest. After circling streets. Practicality hit. Hotels drained funds fast. I texted Travis Doyle, a lab mate I'd lunched with occasionally, outlining the clash vaguely. Family fallout. Need a spot briefly till sorted. His reply surprised. Harsh deal. Couch open as needed. Texting address and code. Feel free. His straightforward kindness nearly broke me. Family should have offered that. Yet, a near stranger did, without pause. His compact apartment in a La Jolla complex held a snug living room, the sofa, cramped, beat alternatives, staring at strange shadows from window lights. Reality sank. Lost home, ties, foundation all for refusing to enable. Next morning, I brewed coffee early to minimize burden. Travis emerged, waving off apologies. No hurry. Had similar with my folks over career picks. Sometimes blood complicates. Monday demanded work focus amid chaos. During break, I scanned listings for studios, disheartened by rents. Affordable spots meant long commutes or sketchy areas. Decent ones required roommates I couldn't secure fast. By midweek, Travis linked me to his circle, welcoming without prying. Deborah Foster, a designer friend, offered empathy at a casual meetup. Sibling kicked out over choices years back. Rejection hurts uniquely, here if needed. A week in, no word from home. Silence underscored their conditional care. Emotions swung from wound to drive for better. Apartment search tough, but after persistent calls. I found a tiny unit in La Jolla, 400 square feet. Basic kitchen, bath. Rent ate half my pay, but independence called. Deborah noted bare space. Furniture hunt tomorrow, my gas. Your lunch. We hit thrift spots and curbsides, snagging a futon, desk, chairs, kitchen basics under $300. Her bargaining stretched my budget. Moving crew of Travis, Deborah, and pals turned drudgery fun. Ending with pizza. Welcome to freedom. Deborah toasted. Small. Yours. Initially shelter. The studio grew into sanctuary. No eviction threats for boundaries. Travis. Deborah wove in as support unconditional. Unlike blood. Weeks built routines. Longer commute. Simple meals. Tight entertainment. But benefits emerged. Free from tension. Sleep improved. Energy surged for lab work. Boosting output. Catching leads' eyes. 3 months out. Review brought surprise promotion. Raise. Changes working. Supervisor noted. Irony. Toxic exit fueled career lift. The bump eased rebuilding, allowing small outings without penny pinching. Deborah's bond deepened, her circle expanding mind gallery visits, hikes under San Diego sun. When overwhelm hit from family processing, she suggested her therapist on sliding scale. Dr. Lori Bennett became key. Unpacking dynamics I'd normalized. Family systems powerful, she explained, trained for role. Stepping out disrupts, they pull back. Not you. The shift. Insights framed pain without self-blame. Not failed daughter, refused unhealthy loop. 6 months in, chosen family formed. Travis, Deborah, and others marked birthdays, navigated crises, created traditions like beach bonfires, game nights, biological kin silent, no birthday reach. Holiday note. Absence created grief, the real and ideal lost. Hardest releasing deserved fantasy, grieving both. Through sessions and friends, views shifted, boundaries necessary for connection, respect over sacrifice foundation, worth not utility defined. As 1 month mark neared, life held authenticity, joy, studio personalized, friends valued mutual, career advanced to lead roles, growth valued, though unplanned, resilience found, relationships genuine, life honoring needs. Over the next weeks, cracks in my family's foundation deepened without me there to patch them. Mary stumbled fast. She landed a retail job at a high-end boutique in downtown San Diego, hyping it as her big break. But within days, she clashed with her manager over missed shifts, blaming strict schedules for her slip-ups. A week later, she crashed her leased sports car after a late-night beach party, racking up repair costs she couldn't cover. The wreck wasn't just metal, it pushed her deeper into financial chaos, with insurance refusing claims due to reckless driving tied to unpaid tickets. Joseph Reed, my father, bore the brunt of the fallout. The relentless San Diego heat and long construction hours had worn him down. But the real blow came from stress. Piling medical bills from Mary's accident and her ignored credit debts strained him further. One evening, after a heated call with a debt collector, he clutched his chest and collapsed. Paramedics rushed him to a local hospital, diagnosing a stress-induced heart attack. Stable, but weakened. He faced weeks of recovery, with costs mounting from tests and meds not fully insured. Linda Reed, my mother, scrambled to hold things together. Her receptionist wages barely dented the household expenses, now bloated by hospital fees and Mary's ongoing demands. They'd taken a second mortgage on the La Jolla house to cover her earlier debts, but payments lagged as collectors circled. Notices piled up, warning of foreclosure if they didn't settle soon. The home they'd fought to keep slipped closer to loss, a reality of California's unforgiving housing market. Mary, undeterred, leaned harder on them. She moved back home, promising to contribute but instead racked up more charges, takeout orders, new outfits for interviews that never materialized. Her charm, once a shield, frayed as neighbors whispered about her unpaid tabs at local spots. Friends distanced themselves, tired of her excuses, leaving her isolated in a community that once adored her. Vicky Walsh, my mother's longtime friend who'd known me since grade school, reached out unexpectedly. Over coffee at a seaside cafe, she shared the grim updates. I'd run into her at a grocery store, her warm smile unchanged despite the heavy news she carried. "Your sister's struggling," she said carefully, stirring her latte, "lost her job, wrecked her car, and it's hitting your parents hard." She recounted my father's health scare, the hospital stay stretching their finances thinner, your mother's juggling bills, but foreclosure notices arrived last week. They're overwhelmed. Mary's not helping, she's leaning on them more. Vicky's voice held concern, not pressure, as if testing my reaction. I nodded, absorbing the weight. Part of me felt a flicker of vindication, my warnings about enabling Mary ignored for years now proven right. Yet sadness lingered for my parents, trapped in a cycle they'd fed. I'd spent years balancing their world, only to be cast out for refusing to fund her mistakes. Now, without me. The cracks were undeniable. Vicky hesitated, then added, "They asked how you're holding up, not outright. But indirectly, I think they're starting to see things differently." Her words stirred mixed feelings. Regret from them didn't erase the eviction or the years of favoritism. I wasn't ready to reconnect, not after their ultimatum. "Thanks for telling me," I said, keeping my tone even. "I'm building my own life now. I can't step back into theirs." Vicky nodded, understanding without judgment. "You've got to do what's right for you, Susan." The news settled heavily as I drove back to my studio. My family's unraveling wasn't my burden anymore, but it underscored the cost of their choices. Mary's recklessness, once glossed over, now dragged them all down. My father's health scare, tied to stress from her debts, was a harsh reality of their enabling. The foreclosure threat loomed as a consequence of their financial overreach, common in San Diego's steep market. I focused on my path. Work at the biotech firm demanded my energy, with a new project pushing my skills. Deborah and Travis remained steady anchors, their support grounding me in ways family never did. My studio, once bare, now held personal touches: a thrifted lamp, a plant from a weekend market, signs of a life I'd built alone. Therapy with Dr. Lori continued to unravel old patterns. She pointed out how my role as the fixer had masked their dysfunction. "Without you, the system's flaws are exposed," she noted. "You're not responsible for their collapse." The updates from Vicky confirmed it. My absence forced them to face Mary's chaos unbuffered. I felt no joy in their struggle, only resolve to keep my distance. My savings, once meant for a condo, now secured my independence. The biotech lab, buzzing with potential, offered growth I'd earned. As I parked outside my apartment, a text from Deborah popped up, inviting me to a group hike. I smiled, replying yes. My chosen family filled the void left by blood, their support real and unforced. The contrast was stark. My family's world crumbled while mine took root. Around the 1-month mark, a call changed everything. My late grandmother's attorney contacted me about her estate. A will, tied up in a minor dispute with distant relatives, had finally cleared probate in California's legal system. I'd been named sole heir to $50,000, a sum she'd tucked away from her modest savings. Stunned, but pragmatic. I'd invested it weeks earlier in a small-cap biotech stock through a colleague's tip, a company like Verona Pharma with volatile but soaring potential. By the time the lawyer's call confirmed the funds, My investment had skyrocketed to over $500,000, a windfall that felt unreal in San Diego's cutthroat economy. I kept it quiet, sharing only with Deborah during a late-night coffee run. Her jaw dropped. But she urged me to hold firm on my new life. "You've earned this," she said, stirring her espresso. "Don't let them pull you back." Her words anchored my resolve to stay detached from the family's chaos. News surfaced through Vicky Walsh at a community event near the La Jolla shore. I'd bumped into her while grabbing tacos from a food truck. Her familiar nod sparking a quick catch-up. She mentioned my family's struggles, Mary's job loss, the car wreck, my father's heart scare, the looming foreclosure. I listened, then casually noted my recent financial gain, downplaying it as a lucky break from an old investment. Vicky's eyes widened, but she kept my confidence, promising not to spread the word. Word spread anyway. By the next day, my phone buzzed with a text from Mary. "Heard about your windfall," she wrote, her tone a mix of envy and desperation. "Can we talk?" I ignored it, sensing the same entitlement I'd fled. Hours later, Linda Reed, my mother, called, her voice shaky but insistent. "Susan, we need to see you. It's urgent. No demands. Just a conversation." I agreed to meet at a neutral cafe downtown, a bustling spot with ocean views. Deborah offered to tag along, settling at a nearby table with her laptop for support. When Joseph Reed, my father, and my mother arrived, they looked worn, his face lined from recovery, her posture slouched under stress. They ordered coffee, hands fidgeting, and jumped into their plea. "We're drowning," my mother started, her eyes darting. "The house is slipping, medical bills are crushing us. Mary's trying, but she needs help." They'd heard about my fortune through Vicky's slip to a mutual friend. "We know you've come into money," my father said, his voice low but pressing. "Family steps up. Susan, you could save us." The audacity hit hard. Save them after they'd cast me out for refusing to fund Mary's mess. I leaned back. "Steady. You threw me out for not covering her debts. Now you're asking again because of my gain." My mother's eyes teared. "We were wrong to push you out. But we're desperate. The bank's taking the house." Mary chimed in via a voicemail later that day, her tone sharp. "You're sitting on a fortune while we're falling apart. Don't be selfish." Susan. The word selfish stung, echoing their old guilt trips, but clarity held firm. My grandmother's will was her belief in me, not them. The investment growth was my choice, not their safety net. I'd spent years propping up their world, only to be discarded. Their crisis wasn't my responsibility. At the cafe, I set my cup down. "I'm not bailing you out. You made choices favoring Mary, ignoring her patterns, evicting me. Those have consequences." My father's jaw tightened, but he stayed silent. My mother pressed. "We're family. Doesn't that mean anything?" "It used to," I replied. "But family doesn't demand sacrifice while offering nothing back. I've built my own life now. You need to face yours." I stood, leaving them at the table, their faces a mix of shock and regret. Back at my studio, I processed the encounter with Dr. Laurie over a session. "They're reacting to losing control," she noted. "Your fortune exposed their missteps. You're not obligated to fix them." Her words solidified my stance: no return to their cycle. Deborah checked in. Her text, a lifeline. "You okay after that?" I replied, feeling lighter, stronger than ever. My fortune wasn't just money, it was proof of my independence, earned outside their shadow. The biotech firm buzzed with new projects, my role expanding with each success. Travis invited me to a group dinner, the laughter and ease a stark contrast to the cafe's tension. Mary sent another message, pleading for a loan to restart. I deleted it without responding. My parents called once more, their voicemail softer but still begging. I blocked their numbers, choosing peace over guilt. Their shock at my wealth wasn't my burden. It was their reckoning. As I walked to my next lab meeting, I felt unmoored but free, my path clear of their demands. Days after the cafe confrontation, their pleas faded into silence. I stood firm, cutting contact completely. Mary sent another text, her tone shifting from entitled to frantic, begging for a fraction of my fortune to cover her spiraling debts. I deleted it unanswered, her words hollow after years of taking without giving. Linda Reed, my mother, left a voicemail days later, her voice cracking with desperation. Susan, we're losing everything, please. Just talk. Joseph Reed, my father, followed with a text. His usual gruff authority softened but still pressing for aid. I blocked their numbers, sealing the door on their chaos. Their world unraveled further, as I'd later hear through whispers in La Jola's tight-knit circles. Mary's reputation crumbled. Her former friends, once charmed by her flair, turned away after she dodged repaying loans for party expenses and boutique purchases. Local shop owners, stung by her unpaid tabs, spread word of her unreliability. Isolated, she moved to a cramped rental downtown, scraping by on gig work that barely covered rent in San Diego's steep market. Her charisma, once a golden ticket, now rang empty in a community that valued accountability. Joseph and Linda faced their own reckoning. The foreclosure on their La Jolla home finalized, forcing them to sell at a loss. They relocated to a modest one-bedroom apartment on the city's edge, a far cry from the house they'd clung to. Medical bills from my father's heart attack piled higher, insurance covering only a fraction. His construction work slowed, limited by recovery, while my mother's receptionist hours couldn't bridge the gap. Neighbors who once greeted them warmly now offered only polite nods, their standing tarnished by financial collapse and Mary's fallout. Bankruptcy loomed, a common fate in California's unforgiving economy. I felt no thrill in their downfall, only a quiet confirmation of my choice. Their hosiery pleading for my fortune after casting me out was too late. I'd poured years into their stability, only to be discarded for refusing to enable Mary's recklessness. Now, their consequences were theirs alone. My life, meanwhile, flourished on my terms. The biotech firm promoted me to lead a new research project, my focus and output earning praise, the $500,000 windfall from my grandmother's will. Grown through savvy investment, sat secure, a foundation for my future. I moved from the tiny studio to a one-bedroom loft closer to work, decorating it with finds from local markets' woven rugs, ceramic vases that reflected my taste, not obligation. Deborah Foster remained a constant, her friendship evolving into a bond deeper than family. We'd meet at coastal cafes, her laughter easing the weight of my past. Travis Doyle, ever steady, organized group outings, kayaking trips, rooftop barbecues that wove a network of support untainted by demands. These chosen connections, built on mutual respect, filled spaces my family never could. Therapy with Dr. Lori Bennett cemented my clarity. "You've reclaimed your worth," she said during a session, her voice calm but firm. "Boundaries aren't punishment, they're protection. Cutting ties freed you to thrive." Her words echoed as I walked San Diego's sunny streets, the ocean breeze a reminder of my hard-won freedom. I heard snippets of my family's struggles through Deborah, who caught updates from mutual acquaintances. Mary took a low-paying retail job, her attitude pushing away coworkers. My parents, stretched thin, leaned on credit to survive, sinking deeper. Their regret, whispered through others, never reached me directly. They were too proud, or perhaps too broken. I didn't dwell on their fate. My focus turned to growth. A side project at the firm landed me a bonus, enough to fund a coding boot camp to sharpen my skills. I joined a local volunteer group, mentoring teens in biotech, finding purpose in giving back without losing myself. My loft became a haven, walls lined with books and sketches, each item a choice, not a duty. The lesson crystallized over time. Self-reliance wasn't just survival, it was liberation. Setting boundaries didn't break me. It saved me from a cycle that demanded my sacrifice while rewarding others' failures. My family's collapse wasn't my doing, but my absence forced them to face their flaws. They'd expected me to fold, to be their safety net. Instead, I built my own. Standing on my balcony, overlooking the Pacific's shimmer, I felt grounded. My worth wasn't tied to their needs or their approval. Deborah's text pinged. Planning a group hike. I grinned, typing back a quick yes. My chosen family, my career, my life, these were mine. Earned through resilience. Their regrets couldn't touch that. Have you ever had to cut ties to find your freedom? Share your story below.